From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
What's up, world? It is time for the NFL Bet Exchange, and I'm your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and my co-host here, my main man himself, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we rocking and rolling. It's week 2, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same, Jeff.
Yeah, long day, long night. We left. We boarded at 9:15 last night, Pops, and we were on the tarmac for an hour with computer problems. So didn't get into Boston until 6 this morning. Didn't get back to the office till after 10 this morning. So been running around, but we're ready to roll.
Now, I know you slept comfortably. What was your airline?
JetBlue. I usually do sleep comfortably, and I didn't. I don't know what it was. You know, the problem, it's usually a meat locker in there. It's like cold, and it was hot as hell. So maybe that was the difference. But hopefully tonight or tomorrow we'll catch up on a little sleep. We'll see.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into what happened last week, Jeff. And my results were 7-9 last week, so I didn't make the playoffs. You know, I would, if it was NFL terms, I would probably be a 15th pick in the draft with the way it worked last week. A lot of morning games didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, but you know, we did get home the Texans and we did get home the Eagles as the plus money here. So we had some dogs get in, but you know, there was 8 dogs that won last week anyway. So hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. I just took advantage of what pretty much came out to be a pretty profitable Sunday if you are a dog lover. But you know, I was kind of in the wrong lane this week, Jeff. I would have loved having those 8 dogs though, man. I know. But guess what though? Mr. Dawson comes through and he wins the division. He got you guys 11-5 last week. So if you tell it everything Jeff played with you guys are up right now. You got an envelope on Monday as well too. Monday or Tuesday, don't matter. Jeff got you an envelope. He did bring home 3 dogs as well too. So hey, you know, you're in the right place. And it's funny because we did both agreed on the Texans, and then he got you guys the Bengals home. And he told us early that he loved the Bengals, and he loved the Bengals before the season even started, before we even did NFL Bet Exchange. So, you know, you guys are in a good place, and the Cardinals took care of you guys as well, too. They were a big winner last week when it came to the Dogs. So, you know, it is what it is. And pretty much we are here now, man, and I'm excited, Jeff. So pretty much Jeff 11-5. Jeff, how do you feel about that?
You know, like you said, it ended up being 9 dogs won outright. So they were insane.
Remember the Raiders. The Raiders,
correct.
Yeah.
So an amazing week to start 11-5, cash in on 3 dogs outright. But we, as we know in the NFL, on Sundays, it's any given Sunday, and you could just look in the mirror this week, and you could flip-flop between you and I. So just take each game, try to analyze it to the best of our ability, give out what we think, and then just sit back and pray to the gods.
Right. And Jeff, you know what? Some people who could have probably might have seen my winners that weren't the matching up with yours, you know, where we went head to head and everything like that, they might have jumped on mine, mixed in yours, and did even better than both of us. So, hey, at the end of the day, you guys did get some different looks in this as well too. So we move on and we talk about tonight's game, Thursday night football. You got the Giants as a plus 155, Washington football team minus 190. It's a minus 3.5 to Washington football team as well too. We got an over under of 41 tonight as well, Jeff. So pretty much, what are your thoughts on this game tonight?
Pop's short week, divisional game. Both teams know each other well. It's a game where, again, Barkley going to be on that pitch count. Daniel Jones has done real well. against Washington. Washington, tough luck loss last week to the Chargers, fumbled by Gibson on their own 5. But as it is, the value that I see here, the only way that I can lean and play this game is I would grab the points plus the 3.5. Everyone's saying low scoring game. So, can the Giants get us to 20? I think if they can get us to 20, I think that'll be the calling card in cash.
All right. And so where I'm going with this one as well, too, Jeff, I love the Giants tonight. I think the Giants have the better situation because what happened with the Washington football team Sunday was they were cruising, and then Fitzpatrick got hurt. They went and got the guy from the playoffs last year, Wiki, and pretty much he did the same thing he did in the playoffs. Yeah, he can be mobile and get out the pocket and all that good stuff, but he can't get them the victory that they're looking for. And I think that the Giants are in a prime position tonight to get themselves a good win. Yes, I know Washington has a great defense and everything like that, but this game is the perfect type of game for the Giants in the sense that it should be a low-scoring affair, and it's the perfect type of storm for the Giants coming off of a bad loss against the Broncos where it was not about the defense being bad. It was about the offense not being able to move as well as they should have. And that just goes back to Daniel Jones not being the guy in New York. And it's just that simple. So this is what I'm doing. I got the plus 3.5 tonight with the Giants as well, too. I like the money line as well. And Jeff is also rocking with the plus 3.5 as well, too. So we're on the same side with this. We see the Giants as being a factor tonight. I put it more on the defense tonight than anything, Jeff. And I think that we're going to get a good effort from Saquon Barkley as well, too, because he's going to be suited up tonight as well.
Yeah, again, he only had 10, 11 touches last week. I look for him maybe hopefully into that 14 to 16. They really won't push the envelope because after tonight, they have that 10 days of rest. So then you really start to see Barkley get it going. But again, who wins? And I'll say this 20 million times by the end of the season, Pops. Who wins the turnover battle? Don't forget Heineke, first start this season. And we did see him once against Tampa in the playoffs, and he looked pretty well. So should be a good game. I think it will be a fun Thursday night game.
All right, we move forward to our first Sunday game, our early games, and pretty much the early games. I forgot to put up our little video for the Thursday night football, but as you guys can see, Thursday night football, we just got done talking about that, so there that is. And then we have the Sunday early games, and in the Sunday early games, we have ourselves up first, the Bengals at the Bears, and the Bengals will probably be another sweetie pie pick this week. I know that a lot of people probably will see that plus 145, see a lot of value, but to me, Jeff, that plus 145 is going to climb up to at least 160 because we all know that quite possibly Justin Fields will start, but if Andy Dalton starts, I think Andy Dalton will have a revenge type mentality against these Cincinnati Bengals and try to get his team a good victory and everything like that because they were overmatched by the Rams, but the Bengals aren't coming with that same type of pressure that the Rams did. That was a tough scenario for the Bears. They're flying to Los Angeles, SoFi, first night in front of the fans, and it was absolutely craziness throughout that whole game. It's a Sunday night football game. And pretty much you have a quarterback that's a lame duck quarterback at the same time, too. So, at the end of the day, you knew what the results were going to be if the Rams played their game, and it was exactly that. The Rams winning by 20 points. So when you look at this matchup, you got a Bengals team coming off of a great win. They did give up the lead, though. You know what I mean? They gave up the lead. And I think that when you come back around and you have a game that you almost lost and you go on the road the next week and you're not elite yet, this is when you run into the scenario where you get into some trouble with a team that might have just came off of a bad, game and want to just forget about that game and come back and try to get themselves, back in order. What are your thoughts on this game, Jeff?
Well, as you said, the Andy Dalton revenge game against his former team. I look at this game a little differently. I saw Matt Stafford just shred that secondary of the Bears. I mean, he could do what he wanted when he wanted. and these guys were just getting wide open in space. Stafford was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. I see some similarities. I'm not comparing. Um, I'm not comparing the Stafford to Joe Burrow, but I am comparing T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd is going to put the fear in God on that other side there of that secondary. So turnovers. Will this be Dalton's last start? I looked at this game. I did see value again in the Bengals. Yes, they did have a 21-7 lead last week. Yes, the coach went for it on his own 25 at 4th and 1. Why, I don't know. And then the rest was history there. But I hate to say it, Pops. I think I'm back in the Bengals 2 weeks in a row here.
All right. So where I'm going with my play, I'm going to go ahead and spend some extra because I don't trust the Bears to cover, but I do trust them to win the game. And that's what happens sometimes on Sundays. You got to spend a little bit of extra money. -175 is not bad at all because there's some occasions where people will bet -220 because the money line is very different in the NFL. It might not match up with what the spread is saying. You know what I mean? The spread could be in this game like it's 3.5 in this game, but we got a -175. Usually when you have a 3.5, it doesn't jump up to a -175. It really never goes over a 150. So what they're saying is most money will be on the money line for the Bears, and I'm going to be one of those foolish people betting the Bears money line. So I like the -175. Hopefully, with the way Jeff is talking, the number will get lower by Sunday. So I like the -175. And Jeff, you are going with the +3.5 here, and he bought the hook as well too. So Jeff is on the points. I'm on the win, so we could meet in the middle here. So, you're not going to be in a bad spot if you take both of our bets. You know what I mean? We might be able to help you out a little bit there, but that's what we have there. And pretty much we move forward to our next game, which is going to be the Bills at the Dolphins. I know Jeff, I can see it in Jeff's eyes. He's getting excited about this one. This is going to be a really good game because you got a Bills team coming off a really, really bad loss. You got the Dolphins coming off of a very spirited win because it's really tough to win at New England, to me, early in the year. Later in the year, winning in New England is not as hard as it is early in the year. And I think that they took advantage of, have the Patriots having a rookie quarterback who is still learning the game somewhat. Tua was able to lean on that defense a little bit and find himself in the end zone and get them to the end zone twice. And that's all he needed to do in a game like this. And the Patriots came up very, very thin. They only lost by a point, but still at the end of the day, they didn't expect to lose that game. Nobody expects to lose the game on Sunday. They try to all go out there and play real hard, but still, the Dolphins came off of what I would like to say a lucky win in a sense because they did get the fumble and everything like that. Now they open up at home, and the Dolphins have been good at home, but Buffalo has been the thorn in their side when they've come to Miami. But it's something about Buffalo coming to Miami. I guess they just love the South Beach weather or, hanging out, whatever it is. But they love beating up on the Dolphins in Miami. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this?
Pops, I'd be more leaning the Bills if the Bills opened up -4.5, 5.5, because the whole world's going to say there's no way the Bills start the season 0-2. Absolutely no chance. And I look at it from what that opening line tells me. And they opened it up at 3.5. Though I think the actual ticket count's at around 90 or 91% right now, all in on the Bills. So why aren't the Bills -220, 225 on the money line? Why aren't the Bills -5, 5.5? Listen, I had Tua. I had the Dolphins last week, and there's no way in hell I'm not grabbing them again plus the 3.5. And I took the 3.5. Okay. But with that being said, I will be sprinkling a little money line on there. I think the Dolphins have a hell of a chance of winning this game, not just covering, but winning it outright.
All right. So we move forward and let's get our picks. And my pick is going to be the Bills with the -3.5. I think the Bills win this game by a touchdown or better Sunday. I think the game winds up being like 27-20, Jeff, something like 21-28, or even worse than that, maybe 28-10. I think that the Bills are going to rock and roll here. Their defense is going to have a day on this day, and that's where I'm going with this one. Now, Jeff is going with the plus 3.5 on the Dolphins, as he already said, and he's going to sprinkle probably some money on that money line, as that plus 125 is looking good. And Jeff, you do have a great point. If the money line is not moving, then there's something fishy there. It's always something fishy there, but that can go either way, and we both know this. All right,
Sure.
So we move on to our next game, and this is another AFC East matchup. And this one's going to be a whole lot of fun. You got the Pats minus 250, the Jets at plus 200. They're going to give you the idea that the Patriots are going to be able to rock and roll and just beat up on the Jets. But you know what, though? I'm going to tell you like this, Jeff. Selah has a good game plan ready for this team. They played San Francisco, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but San Francisco gave them hell. And we both know this, Jeff. And the thing is, San Francisco's defense is back intact. And this is telling me that, I'm sorry, not San Francisco, but it looks like the Pats defense is back intact somewhat because they had a great game. Their quarterback just was is a rookie. That's all. It's that simple. And there was a lot of nerves going into that game. Same thing can be said for Wilson as well, too, in his game in Carolina. He got better as the game went along. Now, this game is going to be all about the rookie quarterback, blah, 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 blah. But I think it comes down to the execution of the game plan as well, too, Jeff. And I think that Selah is going to have a good game plan set up for the Patriots. What are your thoughts?
This game, again, the interesting part of this game, comparing it to the Bills and the Dolphins game, Pops, is the Patriots opened up at around 3.5, got steamed to 5, even saw a few 5.5s and 6s before I left Vegas, current now around 5.5. Pats coming off a loss. The last 2 decades, they've been absolutely automatic. Now you got, 2 rookie quarterbacks going at it. A game where, where we've been leaning and been successful so far is taking the home teams and the dog prices, but also the fact that it's a divisional opponent. But here, again, weighing out the scenarios, I'm not Bill biased, but I think the Pats find a way close early, maybe a late touchdown, pick 6 or something, because Bill's MO has always been shutting down rookie quarterbacks. So we'll see what Zach Wilson has up his sleeve. Bill will take out the best player. We do know that, whether it be Corey Davis or whoever decides to take out. So you got an under over there of 43.5. I think the Pats get to 27. I could see a 27-17 Pats win here.
All right, so I'm going to be crazy Sunday because I'm going to go ahead and take the Jets with the plus 5, and they're sitting at plus 6 right now as well, too. I'm not going to get too stupid and say, okay, let's go get the money line. No, I'm just going to say this. What happens here is that the Patriots have themselves a hard-fought victory, and they wind up winning the game by 3-4 points. You know what I mean? And I would say that maybe the Jets probably get a late touchdown backdoor situation here, just like they did against Carolina as well, too, and they wind up covering. That's how I have it. And then Jeff has it with the Pats minus 5. As he already told you, he sees them winning by 10 or better. So Jeff is sitting there and is sitting there with his choice, and it's going to be the Pats, and I'm going to take the Jets. So it looks like we're not agreeing too much right now, but it's okay. It's okay because this is all about giving you winners, no matter where the winner is coming from. All right, so we move on to the commercial. That's what we're going to move on to next. So pretty much you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange hosted by the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod. We'll be right back to you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, so here we are. We got the 49ers minus 190, and we got the Eagles plus 155 this week, plus 3.5 once again on this. Just like last week, we had a lot of 3.5s last week as well, too, Jeff. So, it's just what it is right now. So I'm looking at the Eagles last year. The Eagles against the spread, they were 4-11 last year, 4-11-1 to be exact. And then, pretty much 6-10 when it came to over and under. So that means that they went under more than they went over last year. And as a favorite, they were 1-6, 3-5 as the dog. So they've been better as a dog. You know what I mean? I know that was a season that kind of went to the left kind of early. But this season right here, this might be the most important game of the first quarter of the year for the Eagles. No, it is the most important game because if the Eagles are able to get themselves in shape and get themselves a good little, boost here and get themselves a win, then that would be absolutely incredible for the Eagles, who seem to always have a good time against the San Francisco 49ers. I'm just going back to when they played last year and they were still losing games. They went and beat San Francisco in San Francisco on Sunday Night Football. So, you keep that in mind as well, too. You got a 49.5 as well, too, because you expect Jalen Hurts to be able to get out that pocket, run a little bit, keep the drives going and everything like that. I really do like what I see with the Eagles coming into this game because their defense and offensive line are so good and they're so experienced, and that's why they were able to just easily beat up on a Falcons team that should have been much better than they were last Sunday. Jeff, your thoughts?
Hats off to you. You were definitely on the Eagle train last week. They just put a whooping on Atlanta. I tell you what, this is a big game for both sides here. 49ers take care of business at Detroit. Let them back in late, but they were still able to win the game, but actually didn't cover. It closed at 9 on Sunday and landed on 8. Eagles home. I mean, the place is going to be rocking. And it's going to be interesting how Jalen handles this big stage here. I know he played a few games last year, but my point is they're 1-0. They got an opportunity here now, okay, to make a statement here, because if they win, they're 2-0. Okay, they're going to be on top of the division already because either Washington or the Giants are going to be 0-2, and Dallas is going to travel to the Chargers. So this game was real tough for me. I lean just to the left to my NFC champs. And again, this is going to be a war. This will be a war, Pops.
All right. So that's how Jeff sees it. I see it as a war, too. And that's why I'm going to go with the Eagles with the plus 3.5. I'm not saying that they win the game. I'm saying that they keep the game very close, but they could be a very good dog play for you as well, too, because you're dealing with the home team here. But my expectations for this week, honestly, Jeff, are that games will stay close, but it's not going to be 9 dogs winning this week. It's week 2 usually is a formful favorites week. And we both know this, Jeff, because, week 1 is unpredictable. But week 2, a lot of times the lines makers exactly know, they know exactly what's going on and they know exactly what spots to put things in. And, pretty much I love the plus 3.5 here. And Jeff, it sounds like Jeff is bought the hook. He's taking the 49ers in this spot. So, we're on separate sides here. We're both playing the spread, but somebody going to win. So we move on. Another divisional game, Saints at the Panthers. You got the Saints coming here minus 160, Panthers plus 140. Jeff, I would say this about last week's game. The Saints had an outer body experience. They figured out that they have a quarterback now. Well, it's not figured out. They already knew they had a quarterback. And we see that Sean Payton and Jameis Winston are just like how Jimbo Fisher and Jameis were over at Florida State. They are in unison. He's making everything real easy on them, and he's looking like the guy who was the Heisman Trophy winner and was pretty much one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen play college football. A lot of people forget that part about Jameis, how dominant he was and how much winning he did in college. And he did have a great group around him, but he made that group even greater because, as you can see, Florida State hasn't been the same since the kid left. So that's something that, you know, we had to put in the fact that we had to give Jameis Winston his props because he's a damn good quarterback. It just didn't work out in Tampa Bay the way that it was supposed to. You know, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions all in one season. But you know what? That's a guy who was forcing things, and now it's in New Orleans. He doesn't have to force anything because that's a system, that's a machine, and he looked really good last week, beating up on the Green Bay Packers. Then you had a Panthers team playing some great defense last week as well, Jeff. They looked really good on the defensive side of the ball. Sam Darnold looked pretty comfortable, even though he only threw up 19 points. The defense did enough to where he didn't have to worry about, you know, saving the Panthers. The defense was giving him enough opportunities to help his team win the game, and that's exactly what he needed moving forward. So that worked out pretty well for him as well. So I think that pretty much this game is a toss 'em up type of game, but this will be my first upset this week with the money line. And I don't even see it as an upset because we're so early in the season and it's a divisional game. I don't like to call divisional games upsets. I just like to call them, hey, it is what it is situations. You know what I mean? Because these guys know everything about each other. And I really do like the Panthers going into this game, Jeff. What are your thoughts?
I'm 100% with you. I think the Saints, an overreaction. If you go back to last year, we talked about this last week as well, Pups. Packers go into Tampa Bay up 10-0, driving to go up 17-0. Rodgers throws a pick six. Tampa scores 31 straight. He puts his head down, and he just wasn't even engaged. They took one punch. They took two punch. He waved the white flag. Not engaged, nothing. So great win for the Saints. Great win for the Saints, but overreaction here. The public's all in on the Saints. I'm with you here. I didn't even bother in taking the 3. I took the money line plus the 140 as well. Under over 46.5. I see a 27-20, 27-17 Panthers, and I see them getting off to a 2-0 start this year.
All right, so I got plus 140. Jeff has plus 140. We're both in agreement that this will be an overreaction, and this will wind up being a week 2 upset that people don't see coming. They'll say it's an upset, but me and Jeff will know that we saw it coming on Thursday. So it is what it is. All right, we move on, and we got the Broncos and the Jaguars. And this one is a funny game, Jeff. You got Broncos, who are one of the biggest favorites of the week. And you got the Jaguars plus 220. Big value there, plus 6 as well, too. Home opener as well for the rookie. And I think this would be a little bit more comfortable for Lawrence as well, too, going into this game because he's going to be at home and wild and crazy things happen in Jacksonville, you know what I mean? And I think that what happens here, the Broncos may overlook the situation. But here goes a fun fact about Teddy Bridgewater. A lot of people don't know this, and I know when I show my pick, people are going to be like, you're going to bring this up and still go that way. Teddy Bridgewater is 22-3 in 25 road appearances against the spread. Absolutely incredible, Jeff. And, the statisticians who dig this stuff up, it's like, wow, what great information. But why did people overlook him so much the last 3-4 years? You know what I mean? You ask that question as well, too. And we know he had a knee injury, but he was somebody that should have never been thrown to the wayside because of that. And, Teddy Bridgewater he's good to the books. That's what I would like to say. You know what I mean? But in this situation right here, I think that it's just like the Saints and Panthers. It's going to be an overreaction. Everybody thought the Jaguars stunk it up last week, even though that they were everybody's darling before they got whooped on. You know what I mean? Everybody thought the Jaguars was the easiest money you could make last week. I said a road team with a 3-point favorite and a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. I don't think so. You know what I mean? And a team that has nothing but warts all summer long, that's usually going to be one of their best moments of the season. And exactly was that. It went exactly the way we said it was going to go, Tyrod time. So, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. I like the Jaguars in this spot. I don't like them to win, but I do like them to cover, keep this game close, because the Broncos took advantage of a lot of mistakes that the Giants made in that game, and they got themselves a back-breaking 70-yard rushing touchdown from a guy that we haven't even heard from since he was in L.A., and that's Gordon. So, hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
You know, Pops, I had a hard time here with this one. The same thing happened to this game as the Patriot games. Broncos open up 3.5, get steamed right up to 6. We were both Texans was one of our better plays on Sunday. I could be persuaded either way here. Overreaction, Jags +6 at home. If this line trickled to 6.5, you could buy the hook and get them 2-7. It takes 8 or double digits to beat you. For here in this game, we just played it safe. Teddy Bridgewater, again, don't make mistakes. Let the rookie make the mistakes. Let the Denver D prevail here. We bought the hook, took it down from 6 to 5.5. Again, it's one of the games that we are less strong this week, but having to make a selection, we took the Broncos, buying the hook to -5 and a hook.
Understood. Which, the Broncos are a very, very tough team. It seems like to start off the season, and they've got a cherry with opening up against the Giants, who are going to be a top 10 drafted team, and then Jaguars the next week, who's another top 10 drafted team. So I'm taking the +6 with the Jags. Jeff is going to take the 5.5 with the Broncos. And he bought the hook as well too, but he needs them to win by a touchdown or better to really cover the bet. So it is what it is at the end of the day. And I'm taking the +6 on the Jaguars, and we'll see how it shakes out. And pretty much let's go to our next game, which will be after that we'll have another commercial. So pretty much you give you guys a break to go get your coffee and stuff or whatever you need to do, check your phone. But we -185. We got the Colts +150, +4. I think this will be another one of these oversights in a sense, but the Rams are legit. The Rams are very, very good. And I know I talked a lot of crap about Stafford during the summer because I wanted him to prove himself. I wanted him to stop being that guy that was in Detroit that couldn't get a team past the 2-yard line to score a touchdown. You know what I mean? And Sunday, he had the help that he's been needing for years. But really, it came back down to coaching. And, Sean McVay is a much better coach than the 22 coaches that Stafford had in Detroit. You know what I mean? And that's what it goes back to, is that he made things very comfortable for Matt Stafford, and he didn't make him a robot out there. He let him be in control of what was going on. And then when you have the players that are able to execute the way that you need them to execute, then it makes this trade look very, very good. Even though Jared Goff didn't look great, but he still got the Lions 33 points on Sunday, regardless of anything. So he only got beat by a point. So all in all, both teams probably came up with the right quarterbacks for their teams at this time. And Stafford, right now, I can say that, yes, he is the perfect fit for what the Rams want to do moving forward. You know what I mean? And the Rams are thinking in a short-term situation. We both know this, Jeff. And that's how they're looking right now, is where they want to win right now. And that's why we saw a big blowout against the Bears. And I think that they go into this Colts game with the same mentality as the Seahawks did. And the defense is going to shine once again on Sunday in this spot. So I really do like the Rams going into this game. +4 is a pretty good number as well, too. I mean, -4 is a pretty good number as well, too. So we'll see how it shakes out. What are your thoughts?
It almost looks like, the matchup that it was last week, take out Russell Wilson, insert Stafford. The difference between Seattle and the Rams is Aaron Donald and the defense. Late night game for the Rams, traveling from west to Midwest to Central U.S. Does the Colts start 0-2, 0-2 at both at home? I mean, two tough opponents here. Uh, my gut tells me that the Rams are going to find a way to win. I just think the Wild Wild West, is the division to watch, every Sunday. We took a swing here, and this is the flyer. We took the Colts plus the 150. Again, we think if they're going to, cover the spread, that they're going to win the game outright. Going to be tough. Again, a strong lean, but I could see your Colts again 27-20. I think you had under over a 46 and a hook. So that's giving you that 27-20, 28-21. So, again, I think the difference here is the Colts are going to have to control the ball, keep Wentz upright, dink and dunk to Pascal and some of the other wide receivers, and Jonathan Taylor is going to have a big day. And I will say this, Pops. Montgomery looked like a beast against that Rams defense running. And so that's what the Colts are going to need from Montgomery on Sunday.
All right, so I'm going with the Rams -4. I think they win by a touchdown or better, and that's how I'm feeling in that spot. But I know what happens here is that you're probably going to get late money on the Colts because you're going to be thinking like Jeff and say to yourself that money line is hard to pass up on a team that looked good in spots, but they just couldn't get it together because there was mental mistakes made at the most crucial time. So I do understand that part with rocking with the coach, Jeff. So understood. Jeff's giving you plus 150 on the Colts this week. I'm going with the spread. So once again, we're going in the opposite directions here, but it's okay because somebody going to win. All right? That's what it's all about. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and take another commercial break, and you guys stay tuned to the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back, and let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be a good one. Leave that on the screen for y'all real quick so y'all can see where Mr. Jeff Dawson's going. But Raiders and Steelers. Oh boy, I can hear the autumn wind now. I can hear the autumn wind now, boy. I'm telling you, Jeff. And then everybody always wants to bring up old stuff. Cardi's throughout the initial diss with the ball hit the ground situation. Hey, the Immaculate Reception was 50 years ago. Let it go already. You know what I mean? Al Davis did everything possible to get the NFL to admit that situation, and he actually probably did get them to admit that, but they didn't want him to say it out loud. But it is what it is, Hey, Steelers, they needed the Steelers at that time, and it is. And you know what? The Raiders showed up every year, so eventually they got a title. But all in all, this game is way. You know what? The Ravens are a better team than the Steelers, roster-wise, in my opinion, on the defensive side, especially in the secondary. But the thing that happened to the Ravens was that they got real comfortable. And the Raiders made enough plays on the defensive side of the ball to keep them in the game. Now, if the defense doesn't step up the way that they did, the Raiders would have lost that game by 20 points because Derek Carr only had one receiver to throw to, and that was Waller. And that was almost on purpose. You know what I mean? And then when he opened up the playbook a little bit and actually expanded, he was able to get the most crucial plays, the Ruggs, Williams, and then even the game winner to Zay Jones. You know what I mean? So this week, I know the Steelers already know who they're going to double team, and that's going to be Waller. So, I don't want the Raiders. The Raiders look way too predictable for me on Monday night. Even though they won the game, Jeff, I still think that they're a long way away from being where they want to be. But I think that with it being the Steelers and it being a rivalry game and being Gruden, it's going to be much better than it looks on paper, in my opinion. But I think the Steelers proved to all of us that they ain't going nowhere, you know what I mean? And they are here, but that's right now. Roethlisberger seems to kind of deteriorate by the time we get to the second half of the season. He's usually good in the first half of the season, so we'll see. But the Raiders, to me, they present kind of an issue for the Steelers. But if the Raiders go into this game and they get down early, this could end early as well too. Your thoughts, Jeff?
I was kind of surprised at the opening number, Pops. I really was. To me, it smelled fishy on baiting us to take the Raiders. I thought the line seemed a little high, and I'm watching this thing, and you're starting. I saw some fives and a halves at the South Point yesterday before we left. Raiders, hats off. Listen, battled hard. A Monday night game now. Travel, east to Pittsburgh. I do remember early last year they were 11-point dogs at Kansas City, and they won that game outright. So for them traveling west to east isn't a problem. I don't know will Jacobs be playing? He's got a toe and ankle injury. So maybe it'll be the Drake show. Waller, you can double or triple team him, Pops. He's uncoverable. You can't cover the guy. And the funny thing with I'm a big Renfro fan. They got Ruggs, and then who scores the winning touchdown? Zay Jones, so he was just plug and play. Derek Carr, hats off. They lose McCoy now. That's a big loss there too. Don't forget the Steelers also started 11-0 last year. Home opener, tough. It was a coin flip. We took the chalk here, Pops. We took the chalk. We see 27-20, 27-17, something like that.
All right, so you guys see it. Jeff takes the Steelers with the -6. He bought the hook, and then I'm going to take the Raiders with the +6.5 here. I think the Raiders keep it close. It comes down to a field goal, in my opinion, Jeff, I think. Because I think the Raiders, they score their points, the Steelers score their points, and then the Steelers have the ball last. It's that simple. And maybe the Steelers have the ball last. Maybe the Raiders have the ball last. I'm not saying the Steelers win the game, but I'm more comfortable with what I like to call the insurance play with the spread, and that's the +6.5. All right, let's move on and talk about the Texans at the Browns. And the Texans are coming in here the biggest doggy dog of the week, one of the biggest doggy dogs, because we do have other double-digit dogs as well, too, this week is on the spread. And you know that the Browns are coming into this game frustrated. It's more about the Browns losing that game than the Chiefs winning. You're throwing up, you're giving up, touchdowns that should have been interceptions. You got a kicker that forgot to kick the ball once he had the ball in his hand with nobody around him. I'm still befuddled by that, Jeff, that the kicker literally sat there and thought that he was going to be able to outrun whatever coverage was coming, but he had nobody near him when he dropped the ball. He easily could have reset, punted the ball, and at least saved face, but literally ruined the whole game for the Browns in that situation. But there was other factors that, were the reasons why they lost. And the Browns had an ample opportunity to win after that huge double sack from their new bookend, Clowney, and their superstar Garrett. And that was a sign to Browns fans and friends, people that are backing them for the Super Bowl. Hey, those two defensive ends, if they stay healthy the rest of the year, it's gonna be havoc every game out, and they're a secondary's dream, to be honest with you. And then you still got Malcolm Smith there, the former Super Bowl MVP, who did get a little cooked by Kelsey, but Kelsey cooks all linebackers, so it is what it is at the end of the day. But the Browns come in here as a monster favor and deserve every right to as well too. Even though the Texans won last week, it doesn't matter. The Browns should have won that game last week against who the so-called best team in the AFC, and pretty much it is what it is at the end of the day. The Browns are going to come into this one, and they're going to be very, very pissed off. But when I see a 12.5-point spread, though, Jeff, you know how it goes with me, brother. You know how it goes with me.
Pops, I think you're going to see as this season progresses, okay? I'm not going to compare Mayfield to Eli Manning, okay, or a Joe Flacco or a Phil Simms. Where I'm going with this is this. The Browns have the team to make it to the Super Bowl. They do. They have the defense. They have the running game. They have the offensive line. For 3.5 quarters, they were in control of that game, okay? The punter messing up, fumbling, whatever you want to say. Kansas City takes the lead, and now the pressure's on Baker. And you saw what happened. Instead of being able to throw that ball away, he throws the pick. Game's over. I'm telling you, this team, come cold weather, playoffs, and as the playoffs advance, if they run the ball 40, 45 times, they keep Baker in that 15 to 18, 19 throws, this team's going to be hard to beat because they're going to be playing keep away. So this is to get your feet wet. Hey, chalk it up as a good win, a good loss last week, and let's just take care of business. Let's just roll here. And listen, I don't like giving up 12.5 points in an NFL game. I mean, that's ridiculous. But here we did. So, you just hope there's no backdoor little Joe. Texans and Tyrod Taylor, they don't make mistakes. So you got to take care of business here. Get out early, play some defense, and then, win by 2 touchdowns or more.
All right, and I hate to do this, but I'm going to take the plus 12.5 on the Texans. So the Texans, I think they lose this game by 10 or less. I still think the Browns win the game, but I just think that the Texans figure out a way to keep this, be annoying. You know what I mean? Don't go away. Browns maybe score 2 touchdowns. They score a touchdown. For every touchdown you score, we'll score 1. And then we look up and the Browns win by 10 or less. And, it's okay because in the NFL, it's just about winning. That's what it's all about. And Jeff is going to 12.5. Believes that the Browns can win this game by 2 touchdowns or better. They're going to be rocking over at the old Cleveland Browns Stadium. They done named it something. I forgot. It's not Progressive. It's not Quicken Loans, but
just
one.
Just call it the Dog Pound.
Yeah, over at the Dog Pound, the new Dog Pound, because the old Dog Pound was pretty bad. So pretty much now you go ahead and get yourself, get your popcorn pizza ready for Sunday. It should be a damn good game, Jeff.
Agreed.
All right, now we got our Sunday late game. All right, and kick it off with the Vikings at the Cardinals. And Jeff, this matchup is much better than it looks on paper. The way the Vikings came back last week showed you that, okay, the Vikings aren't going to be a bad team this season. They just got out to a slow start in that game. The Bengals showed us something that, that they got some pride to them this year. And we already said on the show that the Vikings have had a hard time against AFC teams over the last few years as well, too. They laid eggs against teams that were like 3-9 that were from the AFC, Jeff, in the last few years. We know that with the Broncos game from last year. Broncos were terrible coming into that game, and the Vikings were a sweetie pick, and they wound up messing up everybody's money in that game. So pretty much the Vikings go back, play the Bengals. Bengals are a team that was a very circled team. There's a lot of people that took the Bengals. A lot of people love the Bengals on Sunday. So, but that doesn't mean I'm saying, it was a bandwagon situation. Just the Bengals just had that look to you because everybody likes Burrow. So pretty much you have the Vikings coming into this game. Now they're the dog this week. You got a Cardinals team with their chest poked out after what they did to the Titans on Sunday. But I just think the Titans just couldn't get out their own way. And they just, you got to thank the defense for the Cardinals being so good Sunday, because Chandler Jones had a 5-sack day. When a guy has a 5-sack day, you're not supposed to lose that game at all. And, Tannehill kind of showed his inconsistencies or whatever. But I think that Cousins and crew, they found some things they really liked on Sunday when they made that comeback. And I think they're going to take that momentum into this week's game. And that's why I like the Vikings a lot coming into this spot. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
I thought that number was low. Arizona was the talk of the town, I thought, in the NFL. Murray got jobbed for the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. They gave it to Stafford. There's no way that wasn't Kyler Murray's. And now a Viking team that loses in overtime because of a Dalvin Cook fumble. I thought the number was intriguing. And for that, you got an under-over of 51. I think they're saying, all day long, 27-24. 28-24. I grabbed the points myself, Pops. I grabbed the 4.5 here with the Vikings, a team that's 0-1 that doesn't want to be 0-2 to start the year. I'm all in on this Arizona team, even though I like the 49ers to come out of the NFC. But I think that Murray and Hopkins will be a fantasy football dream this year. Chandler Jones, 5 sacks. Already talking he wants out again. So I don't know what's going on there. Their defense was amazing. And again, look for Dalvin Cook to run the ball effectively. Look for Cousins not to make mistakes. Big week from Thielen. Look for Jefferson to bounce back. But I like the points here, Pops, as well with the Vikings.
Well, I'm about to go a step further, man. And you know what time it is, Jeff? It's the dog bet of the week. And you know where I'm going with this one. Go ahead and hand me the Vikings plus 180. I love it. We're going to be in the desert. I've been in this spot before the last few years, and it's worked out pretty well, because this is going to be another overreaction to what they see with the Cardinals. They're going to think that the Cardinals are going to be able to beat down the Vikings, and I think the Vikings get themselves a lead early. Then they figure out a way to contain Murray. And that's how I'm feeling in this fight. That's why I think the Vikings can win this game. And that's why they're the dog bet of the week as well, too. So bet them big, baby. All right, so we move on, and we have the Falcons at the Buccos. And actually, the Falcons are plus 525, while the Texans are plus 500. I don't know about all that, Jeff. This is a divisional rival as well, too. And this is a team that, still has a top 10 quarterback. I know a lot of people might think I sound crazy right now saying that, but it wasn't nothing but like 5-6 years ago. It wasn't nothing but 4 or 5 years ago when Matt Ryan was the MVP of the NFL, and he was leading his team to the Super Bowl and literally almost won the game if they don't have the most epic collapse that you'll ever see in a championship game, of any sport. So the Falcons come into this one being reeling a little bit. They played terrible last week, you know what I mean? And I think that it wasn't really the offense that played that bad. It was the defense that was just – there was no help from the defense at all. And, if you have a team that's average offense like the Eagles do what they did against the Falcons, you're going to have the idea that the Bucs are going to be able to do the same thing. Not so fast, Jeff. They're in the same division, so they got different tape on them. They got different reports on this team as well, too. So the Falcons are a spot that you should not overlook just because the way that they looked last week. This isn't a bottom-tier team in the NFL, in my opinion. They just got off to a rough start, and I think if Matt Ryan's able to get cooking early, then they should be right in this game. I'm not saying that they win the game, Jeff, but they should be right in this game because it is a division rival.
Yeah, a tough spot in our eyes. The one factor that I like to take into consideration here, too, don't forget, is the Bucs had the extra couple days off. They played on that Thursday night game versus Dallas. Not that they weren't ready for Dallas. But again, the defense did not play well. Dak picked them apart. I look for a big stance from the defense here. I look for the Bucs to get out early and often. I see Matt making a few mistakes. Listen, he is the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL from going from 20 to 20, but he can't punch it in the red zone. And with that, field goals aren't going to win this game. I see the Bucs putting up 31. I see that Atlanta maybe 17 at best. So we're going to roll with the favorite here. But again, I don't like giving out big double digits in the NFL. We bought the hook here, took it down from 13 to 12.5, just in case of a missed extra point, Pops.
All right, so Jeff is going to go with the Bucs with the minus 12.5. I'm going to go ahead and be stubborn here and take the plus 13 because whenever I see double digits, I usually go with the double digit side unless you're really just that bad. You know what I mean? Like how the Jets were last year. All right, so with that, we will be right back with this is going to be our final commercial break as well too, and we'll be back with the last few afternoon games, and then we'll be talking about the Sunday night football and the Monday night football game as well too. You guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back. And as you guys can see, we got the Titans plus 210 at the Seahawks minus 250 this week, 5.5 point spread for the Seahawks. And I know a lot of people will probably see the Titans as they dog bet of the week this week. But the Seattle defense showed me something that they're much improved on the secondary end because the Colts had some things working for them. You know what I mean? Carson Wentz is a guy that a lot of people wrote off, but the best thing for him ever was to be on a team like the Indianapolis Colts. He's a Dakota kid, so it fits his personality, his demeanor more. Philly guys got to be tough. You know what I mean? When you in Philly, you got to be tough. You got to be tough-skinned, and I don't think he passed the test in that regard. So I think that it's a great fit for him, but Seattle definitely took advantage of his timidness last week as well too. This week, they're not dealing with the timid quarterback, but they are dealing with the inconsistent quarterback because if he can't get the run game going, then he may be in a little bit of trouble. And that's one thing that the Titans can probably put their game plan together on is on Henry because the Seahawks did have a few little issues with making some key plays in the run game on defense last week. I did see that with Jonathan Taylor, who kind of did what he wanted to do at certain points of the game as well too. And I know that the Titans are a much better rushing team than the Colts, so they can probably have something to take advantage of. But what I go back to is when the Titans played in Denver last year, early in the season, Jeff, and they got absolutely spanked over there in Denver. It was a late afternoon game, and the game wasn't close. You know what I mean? Even though it wasn't a lot of points scored in that game, still, they just got absolutely dominated. I think it was a year prior to that because this is the game I think Tannehill checked in for Mariota that year, Jeff. That's what I'm talking about. So it was a late afternoon game, and the Titans just were absolutely terrible in that game. I think that what happens here is that the same type of result occurs because I think the Seahawks are a much better team than the Cardinals. But I know that the Cardinals had a guy that was applying a lot of pressure. Now, Seattle applied a lot of pressure last week themselves, Jeff. And I think that can translate to this game right here because the Titans kind of showed that their O-line is not that good. So if the O-line doesn't step it up the way that you would want them to step it up, the Seahawks should be able to run away with this one.
Again, we talk about overreactions, and the Titans just got lit up at home. Now they got to travel to West Coast against the Seattle team, the 12th man. The fans will be back in. It's a real tough game for us, but again, because if they don't establish Henry, you don't want to get into a shootout with Russ at home. I mean, the way the Titans got picked apart by Murray, Seahawks with Tyler Lockett, with DK Metcalf, they got to be chomping at the bit here. So I'm playing this game as the overreaction side. You offered a line here at 5.5 early with a 54.5. We bought the hook here. We took it up to 6, hoping Tennessee keeps it close. You're under over a 54.5. We're looking at maybe a 30-24 game, a 28-24 game. We just need the Titans to control the game here and can't allow, Russ, Lockett, and DK to run wild here.
All right, and I'm going to go with Seattle with the 5.5 in this spot. I think that this should be good money for us as well too. The 5.5 with the Seahawks. Hopefully they can win this game by a touchdown or better. But Jeff, I am shaky on this though. This was tough because the Titans, I know, are a bounce back type of team. I just really feel like coming out here to the West Coast after such a big letdown, they'll be let down again. They're going to be in contention, but they're going to have some woes before they get some wins.
Agreed.
It happens. That's what makes your team better at the end of the day, too, in the NFL. It really does. That's why I always say I don't like front runners. All right, so we got a game that's going to be in my neck of the woods, and it's going to turn into DFW out in Inglewood Sunday afternoon. It looks like where should be a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans. There's already a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans that live in Los Angeles and around the surrounding areas as well too. So you know that they're all going to be making the pilgrimage to the beautiful SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. And, the Chargers got their first game of the season. The team with no home. But, they got they let them rent out a pretty place over on Manchester Boulevard. So, they'll have some fans there, just not more than the Cowboys. That's all I can say. And pretty much with this one right here, I love the Cowboys in this spot. The Cowboys play so good against the Bucs. They should have won the game. Now, this game might be a little bit more low scoring because the Chargers showed some defense, but at the same time, Washington didn't have much offense. Now, this game should be different. I think that Dak should be very comfortable in this spot. I think Zeke will probably get more touches as we go along in this game as well, too. I thought he was running the ball well. It's just coach didn't use him as much as he should have. But it is what it is at the end of the day. I think that he's going to be used a little bit more in this game because Dak throwing 58 times, that was absolutely ridiculous. But you got to take what the defense gives you, and that's exactly what they did. So what are your thoughts on this one, Jeff?
We took the swing with the Cowboys money line, 10 days off, a game in Tampa that they almost won. My only fear here is the fact that this could be the public trendy dog in the trap. Listen, the Chargers, they're no slouches. They got a great team. They got a second-year quarterback with Herbert, a good running attack with Eckler, and a healthy Bozer, and a defense, home opener. They're going to want to, kind of flex their muscles as, hey, they upset, they ended up being 2-point dogs to Washington last week. So I was on the Cowboys here plus the 130. As you said in the last game, we're going to take the swing here with the plus 30 cents. But again, this game probably comes down to who has the ball last. I don't see either team getting ahead by more than a touchdown.
All right. And I'm going with me and Jeff both, we're going with the Cowboys money line here. Money line, Cowboys. Vegas look good, dog. And I can see Jerry Jones now loving the building and everything that he kind of orchestrated in a sense. I'm still kind of mad at Jerry for what he did because, it's real quick. He kind of was being a nosy person in this situation with the Rams, Raiders, and Chargers. And I think, at the end of the day, we all know what the better fit in Los Angeles was. It was the Raiders, not the Chargers. But Jerry doesn't want any competition. Because last time the Raiders were in LA, they were the number one selling team when it came to merchandise, and the Cowboys were number 2 for a very long time. And once the Raiders left LA, they weren't the number 1 team on merchandise, but they were still top 5. And guess who becomes number 1? The Cowboys. So what will be the biggest threat to the Dallas Cowboy brand? The Los Angeles Raiders. You know what I mean? And he can't let Mark Davis have a better place than him. Come on, man. See, he loved Al Davis and he punks Mark Davis. It's different.
There you go.
All right, so we move on to our Sunday night football game. That's Sunday night football. How did this song go again, Jeff? I don't know. I can't remember.
I left my singing voice in Vegas.
Right. I know Pink used to do it. Oh, yeah, I've been waiting all day for the Sunday night. And it looks like this is going to be another overreaction, but it's going to be a good overreaction because if the Chiefs don't win this game, then you know that it ain't the same no more for this team. You know what I mean? I know Jeff looking at me crazy like it's always going to be saying they got Mahomes. But you did see certain things with Mahomes last week that can be very killer in a real big game. I did.
But, okay, it's like the Brady effect, okay?
Right,
you know when Brady,
lucky as he do.
You know Brady, when he has the ball with a minute and a half to go, he's going to win the game. Okay? The Browns were dominating that game. You give Mahomes one crack, and that's just what happens. And they own the Ravens. Now, with that being said, again, we take a swing with the value in the plus 130. I don't want the 3. I want the Ravens to go out and win this game to get to 1-1. They should be foul. They had that game won, and they didn't. You got an under over a 55. I'll go 31-28. Late second field goal by the one, the only, Mr. Tucker for the game winner. Ravens win outright.
Well, I'm about to go on the other end and say this. I'm going to go with the Chiefs with the minus 155. The road team wins Sunday Night Football. The home team won last week. We alternate. Road team wins this week, and then it's going to be the under 2. But the Ravens have a good shot, though. That's good value for you that Jeff has for you with the plus 130. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but we are on the other end of the spectrum with this one. Now, let's go ahead and get into our Monday Night Football, and I'm ready for a party. Oh, yeah, they fired him. My bad. I grew up for years. Channel 7, ABC, local network. That's the local ABC. It's Channel 7. And I would be, you get to 5:30, and they would tune up that music. You knew what time it was. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and my man who played for the Bills.
Don Meredith?
No, not Don Meredith. It's the other guy. He was a lineman. He's from Ohio. Dan something?
Oh, Dan Dierdorf.
Yeah, Dan Dierdorf. Yep. And it was so sad when, Dan Dierdorf should have got way more of a plug when he was retiring, but they didn't do that for him. I ain't like that. But Dan Dierdorf was always – that was one of the best crews ever to just do a broadcast. You know what I mean? Those 3 right there, and then you mess it up and you go get somebody like Dennis Miller, who's awful. Eric Dickerson, awful. You know what I mean? And Michael was kind of – and then you got Madden, and it was – it was some good years, and then they traded Madden and Michaels to NBC. Sunday Night Football, which used to be the worst broadcast, because you remember who used to run that one? Your boy Joe Theismann used to be a part of that group. Theismann, The play-by-play guy was decent, and then another Buffalo guy in that group as well too. He wound up. I think he does college now. The big guy who used to do that one. So pretty much, let me get to the game. The Lions plus 450. Packers are minus 600. Do we trust the Packers this on Monday Night Football, Jeff? Honestly, do we trust them?
Everyone's saying it's going to be a bounce back. Rodgers, after a lays an egg, throws 4 touchdowns. It's a game where Goff showed signs. The 2 backs there, Swift and Jamal Williams, is going to come in with a chip on his shoulder. That's his revenge game. Defense is putrid. We do know that. I don't think Rodgers is engaged. I think you're going to see a lot of this all year. We bought the hook, took it up to 11. Hey, keep it within 10 and, everyone's happy. But I just don't, 48.5. Give us 28-20 and we'll be happy.
And Jeff, I'm in the same boat as you, but I ain't by the hook. I got the plus 10.5. And you know what? I might get a little froggy on Monday night, Jeff. And I might be one of those crazy guys that might throw out that Lions money line. Be on the watch out for that, Jeff, because I think they could walk into Lambeau and beat him because I don't like Rodgers' attitude right now. I hate his attitude right now. I can't stand that type of attitude that he has, to be honest with you. And I think that doesn't get fixed in 6 days. His mind's already made up. He don't care about winning for them anymore. He even said I guess it was either out loud or in the circle, if you already got my replacement, just go ahead and play him. I'm not going to Brett Favre this kid and just stand in your way because I don't want to be over here eating cheese no more. He's drinking your beer. I don't want none of that no more. Get me back to the West Coast so I can go be an actor.
It's toxic. He's just a different breed. He doesn't want to be there, but I can't see him tanking games. But I tell you what, I do remember a handful of years ago, the Lions came in double-digit dogs and they won. They won at Lambeau Field. If that happens and the Packers start 0-2, there could be some turmoil where, listen, hey, Aaron, if you want to play. If you don't, just tell us. We'll put the kid in and then we'll move your ass now. But, it should be a bounce back game, but we're hoping that they keep it within 11 pups.
Well, Jeff, real quick before we go off, real quick about the Rodgers situation. What I see is that I got a problem here in New York when it comes to the quarterback position. We don't have a good quarterback. I'm talking about the Giants. If I was the Giants GM, what does it take for me to bring Aaron Rodgers here?
At least 3 firsts, maybe a couple seconds. That deal was done in Denver. That's why in the number 9 pick, Denver didn't take Fields. They thought for sure that they had Rodgers, and now they're just waiting until the end of the season to get Rodgers. That's the only reason why Justin Fields is not a Bronco right now today. But it's going to take you, 3 firsts and a second or something. And listen, the Giants, if you think you're ready to win now, I see that. But Barkley's got to be healthy, and you got to get that defense on point as well. So, I mean, the Giants go 5-12 again this year, 6-11. Then they finally go get a quarterback in the draft. So,
I'll go get him now, Jeff. But I'm not giving up 3 first-round picks in a second for a guy who's been in the league 14 years and don't really care about playing no more. So, we're not going to do that. We're not going to walk down that street. I'll give you a first-rounder, a couple Rockettes, 3 boxes of New York pizza, and that's it. That's, give me Rodgers. But it's all good. It's all good. All right, so I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange. I'm your host, the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. My man, the Don of Cape Cod himself, Jeff Dawson. We will be back next Thursday at 10 a.m., suited and booted and ready to get you guys shooting and get you guys some money and get you guys looking right. So as you guys can see, me and Jeff are having week this week. I think we only agreed on probably 4 games this week. So, take my side, take his side, whatever it may be. But you're going to get some winners, though. That's all I got to say.
That's all it means, Pops, is we'll probably both be 8-8 or something.
Right. So, hopefully, everything works out. But with that, we are gone. We are bye-bye. We'll see you next week, Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And, Jeff, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much. And once again, this is the NFL Bet Exchange hosted by the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Down to Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we are gone.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bets are laid. This show was produced by the Prime Wave Media Group.